stung me. Bad.
Hi, how are you? So, welcome to the end of season wrap-up video. So, basically every season I have like a cut-off point and I do my, music video, and then we have this big long end of season wrap-up video. So, you're going to see quite a bit of variety in this video. It's kind of like a variety show. So, you're going to see a snorkeling video where I get stung by a jellyfish. Not a nice time. You're going to see like a little talk with ChatGPT about weather conditions. That's also kind of a little wee dive, and you're going to see Ying's dog, which is not really dive related, but it's kind of sort of a little bit slightly dive related. You're going to see clips from another dive footage I did with Chris. We went out to Lyttelton Harbour. You're going to see a few other little things too. You're going to see a little bit of a visit to Kaikoura, and just some other random things interspersed through there.
Don't mind me, I'm just going to be in the background. This is my first time doing such a thing like this, and I'm incredibly nervous. So yeah, if you want to make it less nervous, sing along, we'll just keep that.
Following on from Spiky Gold, I've managed to do some filming for the t-shirt that this gentleman here is wearing, the Hunters Club. They branched off and decided that spearfishing was the underwater equivalent of hunting, and that's how South Seas Spearo was born.
It is a wee bit of a long video, so you don't have to watch all of it, and what you can do is you can come along and check out the time codes. And so the time codes have like everything in there, so it's in the description and it's in the pinned comments, and you can choose what you want to watch. And at the end of the video there is a like a feedback section, and I'd really appreciate you, like if you don't want to watch all the video, or if you're just going to watch bits of it or whatever, please at some point in time go to that feedback section at the end of the video and watch that section, and because gives me a chance to get feedback from you about the videos and stuff like that. Okay, well, let's launch right into it. We won't yabber on for ages, and this is a sort of a dive. I do get in the water. It's underwater footage, so it's technically a dive. It's a sort of a dive around Split Apple Rock in Nelson, and it doesn't really go as planned. This was a painful experience. Morena, or Sao Shang Hao, as we like to say in Mandarin. I'm here in Motueka this morning, and I'm heading up at the crack of dawn. It is 6 a.m. right now, because low tide's 8 a.m. and I'm an idiot and I can't sleep in. We're going to head up to Kaikoura, to the infamous Split Apple Rock, collect some shellfish, get some, hopefully, oysters off the rocks. So I'm up here for a couple of days. I'm not really sure what I'm going to be getting up to. Just sort of depends how it goes. I mean, when I'm in Christchurch and when I'm in Canterbury, I can go out spearfishing, I can go out, collecting shellfish or whatever, and I sort of have a rough idea what I'm going to run into. But up here in Tasman, it's just a bit of a different marine environment, because up here you've sort of got a lot of the sandy beaches, and the tides run sort of 3 to 5 meters, so much bigger tides. So you really sort of have to get your tides right if you're going to go like shellfish collecting, and you got to get there at the low tide basically. And so there's less sort of rocks up here, less seaweed, that sort of thing, that kind of marine ecology. So I'm just not really sure what I'm going to run into up here, but I'm here for a couple of days, so we'll see what we can get. jerks. They took away all the parking down the street. So you've seen the title of the video. You know what's going to happen. It's not like I'm spoiling it. You know that I'm about to get stung by a jellyfish. But there's a little sequence of events here that begins right around this point. When you go to Split Apple Rock, you go down Moonraker Way and Tokangawa Drive, and you get to this track, and you walk down this track, and it's not a huge distance, but it is a wee bit of a walk to get down to the beach. There's the toilet if you need to go. So you don't want to take too much stuff down with you. Now I've got a backpack on. Inside of that backpack are the things that I think I'm going to need. I've got my togs, my towel, a hammer, an oyster knife, a catch bag, and I decide to take my mask and snorkel and a GoPro camera. That's about it. Those are the things that I think I'm going to need. Doing a dive, doing a swim is actually sort of the backup plan.
I don't know. Have to do a bit of acrobatics now.
Because the main plan here was to go to the rocks down here and take oysters off the rocks. So I'm getting in the water and going for a swim. That's the decision that's been made. I should have seen this coming actually, because when I first got in the water I actually saw one of these awful little jellyfish. It's a little like a little jellyfish with like a red center, and there's a few of them around in the water. I didn't think that they were going to sting me. So I start swimming around the base of Split Apple Rock, and I have no idea what's down there. I've never been down there before. I've never swam under the water with a mask on and actually had a look and seen. I have my mask and snorkel and my GoPro on my face, but that is the only piece of dive kit I have. I didn't bring fins with me, or socks. I didn't bring dive gloves. I didn't bring a hood, I didn't bring a vest, I didn't bring a rash top, I didn't bring a wetsuit, I didn't bring a weight belt. I literally brought nothing except for my togs and my mask and snorkel. So I spend time in the water, and I'm swimming around and snorkeling, and I sort of pricked my hands quite a few times on the little sea urchins, the little kinners that are down there. I contemplate in the middle of the swim actually going back and getting the catch bag, which I had originally planned to use to get the oysters, but I opt not to, and I think, well, these kinners, they all look pretty small, and it is obviously a kinner barren at the base of this rocks. And I keep having a look around, and I'm thinking, well, you know, because I'm here, I've made the effort to be here. I was surprised actually how big this area was around the base of Split Apple Rock. It took me quite some time to swim around. It was quite a big area, and I was here right on low tide. And eventually what I finally discover, a couple of sea cucumbers on the rocks, and right at the moment when I see the sea cucumbers, I dive down. It's almost like the stars aligned in the perfect wrong way, because that is the exact moment where I get stung by the jellyfish, and my goodness was it painful. As I dive down to reach these sea cucumbers, and then I come back up, you can actually see for like a couple of seconds in the video the jellyfish, the one that stung me. After getting stung, I decided, okay, it's time to leave the water, so I start swimming back, and I have to give myself time to rest, and my goodness, you know, the stinging It stung me on top of my head, on the top of my shoulders, and it stung really, really bad.
Get some relief from the stinging. Relief from the stinging. Oh jeez. There. That's one of them. You see that thing? It's got the little tentacles. That's one of them. That's one of them. Stung me. Bad. Ow. Other than that, it's quite a nice swim. Quite a nice swim. Yeah, definitely if you want to swim around the old Split Apple Rock, definitely bang on low tide's the time to be here. It's quite good. Nice and shallow water. Well, okay. Round 2, second attempt. I'm pretty sure there are some oysters down there. I sort of feel like I'm giving it away this time. Like I'm really giving it away. Spot in. Yeah, there's oysters here. So I didn't sort of randomly just discover these. Well, not today anyway, but I actually came here yesterday. So I saw yesterday that there's a few oysters growing down here. See if I can get a few of them off without smashing the hell out of them anyway. So the idea here is you use some ice water, just ordinary ice, ordinary water. You get your oysters, chuck them in there. So being rinsed in water helps to rinse the shells and stuff off of them, and also chills them down a wee bit, which makes it taste a bit better. Hopefully you're not eating the shell.
So that was how I got stung by jellyfish, Split Apple Rock. Coming up in the video, coming up next, we've got Ying's dog. Then we've got a chat with ChatGPT, and we're talking about visibility in the water and the factors that decrease viz. Because as a diver, we all want viz, don't we? We want viz. So you should hang around and watch that segment of the video where I talk with ChatGPT and I tell you about what the outcome was.
Hey Jezebel. You're getting bigger. You're getting pretty big. You're a big dog now, aren't you, girl? This is Ying's dog, Jezebel. Golden Retriever puppy. Hey, Jizzy. Hey, girl. Oh, you like that chewy thing, don't you? That's pretty good. This chewy thing. Jizzy.
Six or seven puppies at the class,
Yeah.
and she was the biggest. She was the biggest, and she barked several times, like quite loud. That is very embarrassing. Very embarrassing. Okay, I will wipe her, and then I will brush her, and I will let her play with you.
She's not even struggling or anything. She's just like, Mum is holding me.
I'm not her mom. I'm just her owner.
So maybe this is Ying's dog. Maybe in a future Kiwi Kaimoana video, we can go mussel hunting and go to one of the beaches or one of the bays, and I can pick mussels off the rocks, and
Are you sure?
this wee dog, maybe this wee dog can swim in the water, because these dogs, these Labradors and Retrievers, they love to swim. So she'll be swimming.
Yeah, they love to swim, but when they get out of the water, they will be like really muddy.
Yeah, they
Messy.
will be. Yeah, so you have to have a towel ready to dry them off. Because these dogs, just like how people like to dive, these retrievers, they love to swim. It's like, I want to swim, I want to swim.
Yeah, it's their nature.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jamie, do you think this little shitty dog was $4,000?
I know that that's what you paid for her. Is she worth that much? I don't know. You'll have to ask yourself that question in 10 years' time. Was it worth $4,000? What you're looking at now is a shore dive in Wainui Beach on the west side of Akaroa Harbour. You ever seen those scuba divers, Dive HQ? Well, they're a local dive outfit. They come to this particular beach quite often for their scuba diving, you know, when people do their open water course. And this particular spot, it is fairly overlooked from Spearos. You're not going to find pawas and crays here. I mean, the pawas you'll find will all be too small. But you will still find fish. You will find, you know, wrasse and butterfish and moki sometimes in this, around this point here. So Wayne and his brother Nathan got in contact with me, and they said, hey, let's, it's getting close to the end of the season, so let's go out and have a wee dive there. And I was a wee bit skeptical, and I was thinking, yeah, I don't know what that viz is going to be like. You know, the weather had been fairly marginal leading up to this, and you know, getting good visibility anywhere around Canterbury, around Banks Peninsula, is difficult. To be honest, you really only get about 4 months of good diving. In my personal opinion, it's basically November, December, January, February, and that's it for the whole year. But we went and we had a look, and unfortunately not quite flash enough. You can see for yourself, like, you can't even see the end of the spear gun. You're talking about 3/4 of a metre of visibility here. So I thought I would just have a quick talk about some of the factors involved. Now what I did was I went and I talked to the AI. I talked to ChatGPT for about an hour, and I'm not going to show you a transcript of the whole conversation, but I'm going to tell you what the outcome was, and I'm going to tell you how it went and some of the things that I asked it. I prefaced the conversation and I said, okay, this entire conversation is going to be applicable to the waters around Banks Peninsula, New Zealand. Now, the problems that we have around in this region is we have quite a lot of rivers.
that are nearby that are feeding into the oceans around here. And that makes up part of the problem. So what ChatGPT said was that there are 3 main contributing factors that decrease the visibility in the water in this region. Keep in mind that if you live in a different region, some of these things will be applicable to where you live as well. It depends on the geography of where you live. But regarding this location, ChatGPT said that the biggest contributor towards decreased visibility was sediment and particulate runoff, mostly from rivers or from the land. The next contributor was phytoplankton blooms. These are little microscopic, tiny little microscopic algae that live in the water, and they make the water green in colour. And the last, the smallest contributing factor towards decreased viz was oceanographic conditions, weather conditions. So we're talking tides, swells, wind, waves, sediment already settled on the bottom of the seafloor. As I talked to it, I kept on trying to give it as much information about what I wanted and what conclusion I wanted from it. I then concluded by asking it, write me a short article and put my name and the Spearfishing Club at the end of the article. I want you to write an article aimed at a novice diver / spearfisherman for how to get good visibility when diving around Banks Peninsula. And this is what it said.
Are you a novice diver looking for great conditions to go freediving and spearfishing around Banks Peninsula? First things first, make sure to check the weather forecast before heading out. Look for days with little wind, clear skies, and calm ocean conditions. This will ensure optimal visibility in the water. Generally, the best time to go diving is during the summer months, between November to March, when the water temperatures are warmest and the ocean is calmer. However, there are a few things to keep in mind when it comes to visibility. Sediment and particulate matter, plankton and other microscopic organisms, and weather and oceanographic conditions are the 3 main contributing factors to poor viz. Sediment and particulate matter make up around 40 to 50% of the cause. This can come from runoff from rivers or the surrounding land. Plankton and other microscopic organisms contribute to 30 to 40% of the issue, and they tend to multiply during certain months, such as late spring and summer. Weather and oceanographic conditions make up the final 10 to 20% and can be influenced by wind, tide, and rainfall. To minimize the effects of these factors and maximize your diving experience, plan your dive accordingly. Check the weather forecast and choose days with little wind and no recent rainfall. Avoid areas close to rivers or areas where sediment is known to be high. Finally, be aware of plankton blooms and try to avoid diving during these months. In conclusion, to get the best diving experience around Banks Peninsula, keep an eye on the weather forecast and choose days with little wind, clear skies, and calm ocean conditions. Be mindful of the 3 main factors contributing to poor visibility and plan your dive accordingly. By taking these factors into consideration, you can increase your chances of having a great diving experience. Lastly, a big thank you to Jam Ennis from the South Island Spearfishing and Freediving Club for his insights and expertise on this topic.
Trash visible is nothing. Powers on that corner there? Right? What's like just out of the floor? Yeah. Not very clear. Oh.
I'm going to mosey on back now, boys.
This is too bad for me. I whenever I see a fish at the end of my gun.
I did actually see a couple of little wrasse.
Did ya?
Yeah. It was over the mussel beds as we were coming around the corner.
Well done.
Coming up next, we've got a Kiwi Kaimoana cooking episode. It's called Kaimoana Cooking. It's beer batter Tarakihi. I wasn't sure, and I'm still not sure, whether I want this to be its own Kiwi Kaimoana episode or, you know, to do cooking shows like this in the future. I don't know if there's enough interest in it. So I'm putting it here in this end of season wrap-up video. And then after that, we're going to be hearing from Sam Wild, talking about his diving experiences during the Barks Ruku Freedive for Mental Health charity dinner. It was a fundraising dinner that Sam recently spoke at.
Oh well, good try. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta give it a go. Urchin.
Gosh, $23 each.
Per kilogram.
Oh, per kilogram. Oh.
Green lip mussel. Snapper. Good.
Got some Tarakihi. Let's fill out this Tarakihi. The head has already been removed. Get these scales off. Now the only people that are honestly are really good at this are commercial fishermen, you know, people who do this for a living. Everybody else, you know, you make a filleting video and you make it sort of look like you're good at it, but you're really not. I mean, I used to be a commercial fisherman, so yeah, I know that this is one of these things where repetition is what makes you good at it. For the batter, you're going to need an egg, black pepper, garlic powder, a beer,
and 1 cup of flour, egg, powdered garlic, black pepper, 1 cup of flour, stir it all together. And start adding your beer. Now it's best to add not too much beer at first. You want it to be, you know, not too thin, you want it to be thick. And then you can, after you've mixed it all up, if it's too thick you can add more beer, or if it's too thin you can add more flour, because you want it to be a reasonable consistency. This needs a wee bit more of a stir. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, it's looking
main underwater photographer for the South Seas Spearo series. You might have seen those on the telly. So here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Shane Wild.
Outstanding. Cheers, Barks, and thank you everybody for being here and having given me the opportunity to come and talk to you guys. Apologies for the nerves. I am rather used to being behind the camera and not really used to talking in front of a lot of people, but yeah, super stoked to be here, and what Barks and the team are doing, it's a really good thing, so cheers to you guys. But for those who are lucky enough not to know me, my name is Sam Wild. I am a underwater cameraman. As Barks was saying, I've got a degree in marine biology, and I'm also a commercial diver, and started off doing some commercial spearfishing, which is just starting to kick off now. So what got me into doing what I'm doing at the moment is studying in Wellington. I wanted to invest myself with the ocean, and that involved doing a degree in marine biology. While being there, easy to access diving, and just absolutely fell in love with the underwater world. Blew my mind. I just wanted to show everybody who didn't necessarily get to see what I saw exactly what I was seeing. So I grabbed a GoPro, started filming some terrible videos, But eventually, when I finished my studies, I had a job sitting there waiting to do some underwater camera work for a fishing show called Addicted to Fishing with Nikki Sinden, which was an experience, but it made me realise I wanted to start doing my own things, broaden my horizons, and I've been super lucky to do some filming for the likes of Spiky Gold with Raymond, which in itself was an amazing experience. A couple of rough old divers down in the dirty south, harvesting kinda sharks, seals, and probably the divers was probably the scariest part of all of that. But, awesome experience, and to have Stewart Island and Fiordland as the office. I mean, man, we're just so lucky here in New Zealand. But following on from Spiky Gold, I've managed to do some filming for the t-shirt that this gentleman here is wearing, the Hunters Club. They branched off and decided that spearfishing was the underwater equivalent of hunting. And that's how South Seas Spearo was born. And South Seas Spearo is basically just a passion project, which is a bunch of sort of rough old commercial divers, people who aren't made for TV, but they're bloody good at what they do. Kiwi is, and that's what I love about the show. Same as Spiky Gold. You know, these guys are just good, genuine Kiwi buggers who are good at what they do, love what they do, and I think that really resonates with the New Zealand audience. You know, just a bunch of mates out there taking the piss, spearing some fish.
Plenty of F-bombs.
Plenty of F-bombs, yes. And we're lucky enough to make TV. So with South Seas Spearo, there's a group of, I think, 7 or 8 blokes, a couple of Sheilas in there as well, and we all sort of take our turns presenting the show, travelling around New Zealand. The plan was to travel more around the world, but COVID kicked in, and it was a real blessing in disguise. Like, it made us stay here on New Zealand shores, we had to fish our feet, and it was probably the best thing that happened to us, because we are so lucky here in New Zealand with the diversity and the calibre of diving that we have. Onward from there, I've done a little bit of filming for Purdy's Tiki Tour, where my first trip with him was over to the Chatham Islands, and that was amazing. If anybody hasn't been, I highly recommend it. Stepped foot off the plane, we jumped in the water and we were spearing half hooker, which was just mind-blowing. And one of my favourite gigs I've done so far, I did a one-off filming episode with Shark Week down in Discovery, filming down around Stewart Island with the shark population down there. There is an outfit that Raymond probably wouldn't be a big fan of, but you can get in the water and check these things out. They are amazing animals, but yeah, it's a real testament again to the diversity of things that we have on offer here in New Zealand waters, ranging from the humble butterfish to mahi-mahi, which we were spearing recently, to these things here, as well as the sharks as well. But I'm very fortunate to be the underwater cameraman. I get to follow these guys around in all of these episodes. Probably the hardest part of my job is being a spear fisherman as well as a cameraman, and wanting to pull the trigger on the spear gun just as much as the camera. But yeah, the great thing is I can come back, I can show everybody these amazing things that we get to see, and it's put together by some really talented people and put on TV. But what I might do now is just talk about some photos. Enough of me, my yarns. I'll let some photos do the talking.
This thing's not moving, it's only staying on the one photo.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's a good photo.
What sort of fish is that, Sam?
So this is the striped butterfish. Very elusive.
Long nose.
No, so what we're looking at here is striped marlin. So this is from our first episode of South Seas episode. We went out to a place called the Wanganella Banks, which is a geological rise sort of halfway between New Zealand and Australia. So big rocky structure that comes up to, I think the shallowest point that we found might have been 160 metres, I think, coming down from the deep. And what that does is it pushes the cold, nutrient-rich water, hits this bit of structure, shoots it up to the surface, mixes it with the light, and it creates a super abundant ecosystem which has a phenomenal amount of life. Some of the biggest kingfish that have ever been harvested have come from this place. They don't count as a record because they've only been caught commercially. It is a bloody long way out. 48 hours for us to get there. Long time in the boat, long time to be seasick. But there's a mate of mine, he's a commercial fisherman, he's been out there, he has caught kingfish up over 64 kilos, which is massive. So the all line record, all tackle line record, is about 53, 54, I think. So the biggest ever kingfish caught, 53, 54. So yeah, phenomenal fishery. Bass, harpooker, sharks, but heaps of these things here. So we went out here and we were very fortunate to shoot 2 fish, but it really sort of put into perspective that even with a place with this much prestige, you're not necessarily going to turn up and get the job done. So it's taken us 48 hours to get here. We put teasers, so these lures without hooks to try and find the fish at 6 o'clock in the morning. We didn't find a single fish till about 3:30 in the afternoon. It was like, oh, it's like, yep, sweet, it's not fishing, you know, you're not going out and getting it done. We're going to have to work for this. Sure enough, I was asleep when all the chaos ensued. I was all in my gear, went into autopilot, all my wetsuit, oh yep, sweet, had mask on, grabbed my camera, what's going on, divers in the water, shit, waking up, in the water, bang. Once the bubbles cleared, I was greeted by a couple of these things here. And it was just amazing. Not unfortunately, but the diver went through and he got a good shot away. And then the filming had to stay with the diver. The next time I jumped in, fortunately, she missed her shot. So I managed to leave her to go and sort her gun out. And I probably spent about 15 minutes with a bait ball that was just surrounded by these amazing fish. And if I just sat back in the right spot, they'd be happy in it. Happy as just to cruise in, feed. What they do is they just got buff and they completely light up with these beautiful stripes here. And they take turns just jumping through the bait ball and then mooching again. It's probably about 30 or 40. It's pretty amazing. I just got to pop over this computer here. How far does this thing go, Bucks?
Far enough.
Far enough, mate. Yeah, sweet as. Stretch it out.
Would that be New Zealand territorial water?
No. So
Hey, how you doing? I'm in Kaikoura right now, and I thought I'd just stop and make a short video. And yeah, this spot here is where we got a lot of our power from last year, and a lot of people showed up here to collect power. Too many, which is why the power season has changed now. And yeah, right down there, there's a whole bunch of seals here. They often spend their time there, and a lot of them are out of the water right now because the ocean's there's a bit of an easterly coming in, and the waves are coming in, and it's not that nice and calm. Last night we had a big southerly swell rip up the whole coastline, so just kind of showing you right now this is what it looks like. So it takes sort of about a day, maybe 2 days for the water to clear up after a big southerly front. The front was probably, I'm going to say, maybe 15 knot winds, maybe 30 k's an hour winds, roughly. And like, I could get my wetsuit, I've got my dive gear with me right now, and I could go out there and I could do it. I wouldn't have much fun though. You know, Easterly's bringing the waves in, the water out there. It's pea soup, you know, it's probably half a metre visibility. Camera probably can't pick it up, but if you go sort of further out, about half a kilometre out, put the boat out there, about half a kilometre out, it's all good, you know, it's all blue water. Up close it's just pea soup, and it's going to be like that for a while. I get a lot of comments on my videos and people just saying, oh, great video, when's the next one coming? And it's difficult to produce the next one because so much of what we do here is weather dependent. You know, when you create YouTube videos, you sort of have high effort and low effort videos, and like low effort ones, like things like Joe Rogan, where you do interviews and you talk to people. And like gaming videos too, where you just set up the camera videoing yourself and you just record yourself playing the game. That's low effort, but it still gets a lot of watch time. And then you have this, and this is the opposite. This is high effort.
And to be honest, high effort is really not sustainable in terms of producing YouTube videos if you want to do it full time like a job. It's okay as a hobby, but you know, doing this sort of thing full time and trying to make it full time, it's not really sustainable. Firstly, the physical effort of going to the place, putting your gear on, getting into the water, trying to find some Kaimoana. That physical effort is enough in of itself, but then you've got to go home and create the video and edit the video and assemble it, and that's hours of work afterwards as well, you know. So I mean, I watch some of these channels, and like recently I've been watching a bit of the old Ollie Craig Primal Pursuit. He does spearfishing trips up in the North Island, and I just think to myself, yeah, I wonder how many years that's going to last for him. With regards to Ollie Craig and to people that are doing the same thing as him, that's cool, you know, give it a go, but I'm very, very skeptical how long he's going to be doing that for. I've just seen a lot of other YouTubers try and fail, and you know, just life gets in the way, and there's nothing wrong with that. Life does get in the way, but anyway, as it relates back to me and my channel, this is only ever going to be a recreational fun thing, and you're not going to get a video every week out of Kiwi Kaimoana. You're going to get about 10 episodes a year, and that's only for the duration of the time that I do this. Probably in the future I will move away from diving, and I'll probably do more just snorkeling, and I'll just maybe do more rod fishing and stuff like that. So, you know, I won't be doing this forever, but I'm enjoying it while I can.
Well, you have done really well. You have done amazing. You've gotten all the way to the end of the video. You know, this is quite a long dive season, finish up for the year, dive season in review video. Right here you're seeing a little bit of the dive that Chris and I did in Lyttelton Harbour, and we actually went to Chris's Spot X. So I didn't actually film all that much of this video, so I figured, oh well, this can just be leftover footage, and I'll use it in this video at the end of the year. Had a little bit of a scout around a couple of spots, and we pulled up a few powers, and we actually got to visit Chris's friend Rob, who has a sailboat in one of the harbours, one of the bays inside Lyttelton Harbour.
Yeah, we're about to go for a dive in this shitty water, and you don't know where. Sorry.
On this dive was quite an accomplishment because we actually got the boat on the plane. We finally got the weight distribution pretty much right. It was a little bit choppy, but it was reasonably flat, but we basically got the boat on the plane. We pretty much figured out how to get ourselves oriented on the boat, because it's just a small boat. It looks big out of the water, but when you're in the water, no, not so much. And I do have to admit that we had to cut this dive a little bit short because I'd forgotten to take seasick pills and forgotten to bring them with me, and that played a bit of a factor in this particular dive. Considering the cost involved in purchasing boats for the purpose of fishing or spearfishing, I think that as one of these big costs, you do have to plan ahead and forward think regarding what you're going to do in the future. So I have come up with a bit of a plan, and I've got 2 or 3 different sort of models of boat in mind that I would definitely consider for the future, because you know, I've been at this for a few years now and I'm still interested in doing it. So one idea is to get a Mach 360 or a Mach 420. So Mach means Marine Action Craft, if you haven't heard of that particular brand of boat before. And you know, I've got my eye on, you know, maybe buying a Mach 360 and you know, storing it in my garage. If not a Mach 360, then maybe an Osprey. Osprey are aluminium pontoon boats, you know, or potentially something else, maybe just another aluminium pontoon boat, you know, if something suitable comes up. And I've made some space in my garage specifically for that. You know, I've been, over the past few weeks and the past couple of months, I've been moving things around, reorganizing things. We actually erected a garden shed to get some of the stuff that I own actually out of the garage, so we can create some more space in the garage. It's just like Harmonious Ra, creating space. Now I want to talk a little bit about this dive season in review, in its totalness and finality now that it's finished. I produced 10 episodes. I was kind of hoping to do a bit more, but to be honest with you, this this dive season has been a bit short. The weather has really started to pack up as I record this right now. It's now April, and the dive season has really started to pack up, and it's basically finished. I will say that looking forwards, before I just get into the last 6 months, I do actually have a couple of dives which are still on the computer and haven't been edited yet, and those are going to be season 4. So those two will be season 4, episode 1 and episode 2. You'll actually see those come out sometime this winter. So those will actually be what's kicking off season 4. It all kicked off this year when I went and pulled 50 mussels off the rock, and I used a boat to do it. Why did I use a boat to go and get 50 mussels? Well, the idea wasn't really to pull up 50 mussels, it was to actually go spearfishing around Taylor's Mistake, because that's just one of those places I haven't really spent much time yet. And the day that we chose to do it just turned out to be pretty terrible, and Chris and I went out on the boat and still had the Tahatsu 9.8 outboard at that time, and man, we couldn't get on the plane at all. But the worst thing about it actually was just the visibility on that day. It was just terrible. It was half a metre. Real shame. But actually the best thing that came about because of that dive was I actually got to meet Chris, and Chris has become, you know, my most reliable dive buddy, and you know, so I hope to be diving with him into the next few years, and for however long we both decide to keep doing this. So meeting Chris has been really the best thing that's happened, I think, this dive season. After that, I participated in the double banger event with the Spearfishing Club, and this was 2 dives in one day. We started out on Lyttelton Harbour and then went to Kaikoura Harbour. Now, the expectation that I had foreseen in my mind was that, oh well, Kaikoura is definitely going to have better viz, because it always does. And then in reality, on the day, Kaikoura was terrible, and believe it or not, Lyttelton Harbour actually had better viz on the day. And we found something quite special in Lyttelton Harbour, so it's definitely on my bucket list to go back to that particular spot again. That particular bay we went to in Lyttelton again, because we did find something very special there. Next up, we've got a series of videos in Kaikoura, which was filmed over Labour weekend, known as the Kaikoura Oaro trip. The first video of that series starts off with me doing a solo dive just south of the marine reserve, and this is one of these dives where it was quite fishy, and there was a lot of good fish around. It's kind of a blessing and a curse, because on the one hand, if I was a better Spearo, if I was more skilled at doing this, I could have come away with a float boat full of fish. You know, it could have been a great dive. On the other hand, you know, skill wise, I'm just not quite up there yet. Even now I'm still struggling. I have shot a few fish now, but I still struggle, and I still need more time to get better, because it's all about time in the water. And I filmed this, and this was time in the water, but unfortunately I just came away empty-handed from that one. After that, it was spearfishing at the seal colony, and I got a chance to go on Hamish's boat, which is known as the Hard Up. And man, that was a great dive, and unfortunately not quite so fishy, and the viz not quite so good, because the southerly front had rolled in just immediately beforehand, you know, the previous day, and the water was still clearing up, and it was still shit, and it was a lot less fishy. Hard to find crays, although this was kind of special because I grabbed my first cray on this particular dive. The last one on this particular trip was where I chose to go freediving down the line rather than spearfishing, so there wasn't really any spearfishing in that video. And at the particular time, Ian Barker had given me the choice, okay, which one do you want to do? And so we chose to go out on Hamish's boat, the Hard Up, and we did freedive training down the line. And so I was out there in the water with Dion, with Ian, and I felt quite privileged to be in the water with these two guys who are both very, very good divers. Got down to 10 meters, and for someone that's never ever dove down to 10 meters, that was a major accomplishment. It's given me actually a lot more confidence, because it's like, oh, I know that I can do that. Like I've never done it before, my body has never gone down that depth, so now I know I can do it. It's quite significant. And I'm really, really happy that I made that decision, even though it was a day where I could have shot fish, but I didn't. After that, it was a trip to Tangaroa with Chris, and this was an epic power dive where we really cleaned up. I mean, we came back with butterfish, we came back with wrasse, moki, and our full quota of powers. It really can't get much better than that. Like, if you were going to watch one dive video out of this whole season, this one here, Epic Power Dive Tangaroa, is the video to watch. If you haven't seen this one, like if you've seen some of the videos, but you haven't seen this one yet, or like you gave this one a miss, go and watch that one. That's a good dive video. Trust me, this is a good watch. We repeated that journey a few weeks later, and we went to a slightly different position. Not quite the same position, a slightly different position. And I shot so much dive footage that I had to split it into 2 videos. I didn't want to edit a great big 40-minute long video. So it was basically made into a part 1 and part 2. And part 1 was Mystery Fish Appears While Spearfishing, where I run into a leather jacket. Now, leather jacket's not really what you call a special, super interesting fish, but you don't see that many of them in Tangaroa Harbour, so having one suddenly appear in front of me, it's like, oh, hello, I think I'm going to shoot you. And on that same dive, I tried out the new Tamalu power knife, which is that metal power knife, and it's quite good for uplifting powers off the rocks. It does a better job of pulling them off than the plastic MPI knives, although you also do have to be quite careful with it when you use it, because it can leave a sort of abrasions on the surface of the Blackfoot power. So whilst you use it, you have to be gentle while using it. And lastly, the last video in the series this year was the unlovely truth of diving at Little Akaloa, where Ying and I dived at Little Akaloa, and we basically came back with empty hands. And the water was pretty good, but the unlovely truth that was discovered was that that bay, and probably all of the northern bays from what I've read in Facebook comments, that bay is pretty barren and there's not a lot of life there. And if you want to find something, if you want to find powers or kinners or crayfish or whatever it is you want to find, you've got to really work hard and spend quite a lot of time in the water. That's one of those things where you see someone make a video and the video is only a few minutes long, but actually they've spent 3 or 4 hours in the water searching. I really struggled with that one, but that one's quite a cool one. Like, if you're a Chinese speaker and you haven't watched that video is bilingual. It's got Chinese and Mandarin and subtitles for both. Looking forward to next season, I have a few ideas in my head. We are planning on going to Kaikoura for the next power season. Not quite sure how that's going to go yet. I don't want to get ahead of myself and make predictions and jump the gun, but we're definitely considering going, even though it's in April and it's going to be cold and it's the beginning of winter. We're definitely considering going to that one. When we get to Labour weekend, I've already applied for the leave, and I will definitely be repeating that spearfishing trip to Kaikoura again. And hopefully we get a series of, say, maybe 3 videos again that's all Kaikoura spearfishing. In theory, I think things can only get better and better, if you keep repeating these sorts of things year after year, because you'll get better and better and better at it. Spearfishing is a thing that's it takes a long time to get good at it. It's a lot harder than what it looks. Like, it looks easy in the videos, but when you actually are in the water and you're doing it for yourself, it's not so easy. Not so easy to be successful, at least. If finances allow, I would like to consider going to the Sound Summer Slam as well, which is usually the last week of November, which is where you go up to the Marlborough Sounds and you do some spearfishing up there. And it's more blue water spearfishing focused, I think, but you get a chance to find kingfish and shoot kingfish and maybe run into a bronze whaler shark. Ask Ringy. Those are just a couple of things that are in my head for the future, for the next dive season. So it's really about getting a new boat, definitely repeating the Kaikoura trip again, and maybe doing the Sound Summer Slam. And of course that double banger event. Yes, we'll definitely do that again. Just to wrap up this video, I would really be interested in hearing some feedback from you. So if you've been watching these videos just sort of on your phone, and then you watch the video and then you just and it was a good video, and then you just sort of just moved on to the next video or whatever, it would really be helpful for me if you actually went to your computer and loaded up 1 or 2 of the videos that you liked, and just type in some feedback, and just say what you liked or what you didn't like. It's important to tell me what you didn't like. you don't want to get stuck in this kind of echo chamber of only listening to, you know, feedback that you do like. Don't be afraid to tell me that, you know, you didn't like something, or, you know, it could have been done better. We'll finish up this video by showing you a little bit of the clip from Raymond Lidgard. This was at the Freedive for Mental Health charity dinner. So Freedive for Mental Health is something being run by Ian, and he is wanting to run a trial of getting some people with mental illnesses to do freediving, and seeing how it affects them and seeing how it benefits them. When you are holding your breath and you're in the moment and you're diving, then you're not thinking about all those other things in your life that are upsetting you. You're thinking about holding your breath to stay alive, you know. So a lot of people have given Ian the feedback that it's been quite beneficial to their mental health. So that's what Freedive for Mental Health is all about. So there was a charity fundraiser dinner, and this is Raymond singing at that dinner. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. You should leave a comment that says I'm a 100%er. It's even dark out there. It's been that bloody long, hasn't it? You know, 1 hour long video. By the way, Kiwi Kaimoana is now on Facebook. If you didn't know, have a look at it on Facebook. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.